You've probably heard by now that the genetic testing service 23andMe filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They're looking to sell a company, which means a new owner could get access to the genetic information from like 15 million customers. Consumer advocates are recommending that people delete their accounts and data, because this information is really sensitive and could end up in the wrong hands. So today we're going to go through how to delete your 23andMe data and why that might be a good idea for you to do right now. If you find this information useful, please like and subscribe for more. So let's get started with how to delete your 23andMe data. First, you need to log into your account, then go to the settings section, which is usually on your profile page. From there, you'll scroll down to an option that says 23andMe data. Go ahead and click that. On the next page, click You. Now you have the option to download your genetic data if you want to keep a copy for yourself. But once you've decided whether or not to download your account, scrolling down the page, you'll get to a section called Delete Data. And there's a button that says Permanently Delete Data. Clicking this button starts the process of deleting your 23andMe data. And besides just deleting your data, there are some other things you might want to consider for managing your privacy with 23andMe. If you gave consent for 23andMe to store your saliva sample, you can actually request that they dispose of it. You can find this setting in the Preferences section in your account settings. Look for something related to sample storage, and there should be prompts to request disposal. Also, if you don't want your genetic information used in research by other companies, you can withdraw your consent for that. You'll need to go to the Research and Product Consents section in your account settings. You can look at the consents you've already given, and there should be options to withdraw them. Okay, so now let's talk about why deleting your 23andMe data might be a good idea right now. The big thing is that the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, and they're actively trying to sell the company. So this means there's a real chance that a new owner could have access to the genetic information of something like 15 million people. Consumer advocates are saying that users should be proactive and do things like deleting their data to prevent this sensitive information from potentially falling into the wrong hands after a sale. One big concern is that a new owner could change how user data is managed and what they use it for. We've seen what's happened before where new owners have different priorities when it comes to data. Then 23andMe's current privacy policy says they won't sell your identifiable genetic data and that they'll only share it with researchers if you agree to it. But it's important to remember that this policy can change. In fact, the policy itself states that it can be modified at any time, and that includes after a bankruptcy or an acquisition. Even though the policy says the same data protection rules would apply under a new owner, there's always a possibility that things could change in the future. And genetic information is incredibly sensitive. Your DNA can tell a lot about your potential future health, and many people want to keep that information private. I mean, think about it. It's not just about you. It can also have implications for your biological relatives. It's also really important to understand that the legal protections for genetic information are limited. There's the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, or GINNO, and it provides some protection against discrimination based on genetic information, especially in employment and health insurance. But it doesn't cover everything. For example, GINNO doesn't apply to life insurance companies or other test services. Also, genetic data that's collected and held by tech companies like 23andMe isn't really subject to that much federal regulation. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or SIPP, well, APA regulates how health data can be shared and stored, but it mostly applies to healthcare providers like doctors and insurance companies. It generally doesn't cover genetic testing companies like 23andMe or even fitness trackers. Security experts also make a really important point. If someone were to gain unauthorized access to biometric data like your DNA, the consequences could be irreversible. Because unlike a password or address, you can't just change your genetic code. And this isn't just a theoretical risk. Back in 2023, 23andMe had a data breach where data from about 6.9 million users was exposed. This whole situation with 23andMe really highlights how easy it is for personal information to be bought and sold. When you do the company your DNA, we're basically trusting them with your genetic privacy based on their data policies. And as we've talked about, those policies can change. This creates potential risks for both you and your relatives. Now, before you decide to delete your data, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, because a lot of people might be trying to delete their data after the bankruptcy announcement. The 23andMe website might slow down or even have temporary outages. If you run into those issues, just be patient and keep trying. Second, it's really important to understand that deleting your data is usually permanent. Once you delete it, you might not be able to get it back. So if you think you might want to have a copy of your genetic data for yourself, it's highly recommended to download it before you delete anything. Finally, in addition to deleting your main genetic data, remember to check any consents you've given for your information to be used in research studies by other companies. And withdraw those consents if you want. So to recap, if you want to remove your information from 23andMe's database, you log into your account, go to the settings, find the data deletion options, and confirm that you want to permanently delete everything. With the company going bankrupt and potentially being being sold, it's really important to think about these steps to control your genetic information. Remember to check your preferences about storing your saliva sample and any consents you might have given for research. It's a good idea to consider what it means for your genetic data to be held by a company that's going through big changes. And you should also look into more resources to fully understand your data privacy rights in these kinds of situations. Thanks for taking the time to learn about this important topic. Please like and subscribe for more in-depth dives like this one.